Say that here because we're on camera. But who do we have here scoffing the pasta? What's your name, young man?
Bob.
Bob. Pleasure to meet you, Bob. Are you a builder?
Yeah.
Can he fix it?
Yes, he can.
Yes, he can. Okay, perfect. You seem like you're a man from Yorkshire. Is that correct? It is correct. Look at that. Psychic abilities. Okay. And you are a builder as well, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. And this gentleman here, he looks like he likes to go to the gym. Is that correct? He does. What are you benching? Not a lot these days. What are you squatting? 220. Can we get a round of applause for 220? Woo! Okay, he's almost squatting as much as Mr. Cap over there. Almost. Close. And then your name, sir? Zia. And where have you traveled from today, Zia? Croydon. Can we get a round of applause for Croydon? Very nice. Hi there, sir. And what was your name? Nico. Pleasure to meet you. And are you a builder? Founder, mentor, superhero.
I hope so.
Okay, brilliant. You're going to be saving lives if we see anyone drowning. That's correct?
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. We've got our captain of aura farming over here. Can we just get a, oh yeah, for this gentleman over here. Oh yeah, there we go. Then we have the lovely Naomi. Can we get a round of applause for Naomi for helping put everything together today? Thank you very much. And then finally, last but not least, the gentleman that is part of the Coral tribe, I believe. The Coral tribe. Yeah, buddy. Okay, so that's everyone. Oh, last but not least, actually. Hello there, sir. Where have you traveled from?
Fulham.
From Fulham. Okay. Do you actually support that club or?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Terrible. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Harding, and I like to do things on one of these bad boys called a mic. So a little bit of background about myself. I'm actually a guy that went to drama school. So I've been doing like this whole performing arts, talking on stage stuff since I was about 11 years old. So that means I'm kind of a little bit unsure of what stage fright actually feels like because I've never had a chance to actually get it because my mom kind of forced me into it instead of hanging around with my mates, being a bit of a road man. She was like, you're going to go and do tap and ballet and jazz instead. So that was how my journey kind of began. From there, one of the things that I noticed in the world is businesses are based around problems and solutions. I realized one of the biggest problems in the world was people were scared of public speaking. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a quite easy business then. I'll just go around and teach people how to do exactly what I've been doing all my life. So I've been helping people with their pitches and their tonality, pacing, language, confidence building for the last almost 10 years. Most of you probably know me, see me being around and quite heavily involved in the Super Team and Solana ecosystem. And today, I'm going to be going over a workshop with you all called Mr. Harding's Pitch Perfect. So let's get into it. So who am I? Already said I'm a bit of a public speaker. Been going for 11 years. Had a blockchain educational company that worked with the likes of Paramount, Manchester United, been in the blockchain education space since 2019. And in terms of helping people fundraise, you can see some of the stats there and some of the people that we've connected up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you'd think I'm trained in this, right? So sorry, guys. So sorry. Use the actual mic like I'm trying to teach you guys, right? So yeah, I've been in the fundraising space from about 2009, actually. It's because when I started in business, I was working with alcohol companies and helping alcohol companies scale and look for the most important thing, which is distribution. So the famous quote from the Twitch founder is that first-time founders, they are looking for investment. Second-time founders, what are they looking for? Distribution. And this is one of the key things that I'm always trying to help people do and to change the narrative in their pitches so that way they're more attractive to investors. So let's get into the next one. So our lesson objectives, let's make them nice and clear and we understand what we're here for today. It's to learn the basics in how to speak in public, how to present clearly, how to tell a story, how to have a narrative, how to keep your audience engaged, how to have the right amount of eye contact and engage that young man at the front of the audience. Then what we're going to do is understand how to structure a pitch. One of the key failures that I see a lot of the time with pitches is sometimes people have absolutely incredible backgrounds. Sometimes people have absolutely amazing teams and they put them on the last slide. Unfortunately, most investors only look at your pitch deck for about 10 to 15 seconds. They're going to be looking at it whilst they're on the plane. They're going to be looking at it whilst they're traveling. They're just going to be flicking through. So one of the things they're looking for is, are you the person that they want to invest in? Are you an investable person? Are you an investable team? Have you got the Avengers? Are you an all-star lineup? So that's one of the things we're going to look at. And then finally, after all my time in this fundraising space, successfully raised over £3 million last year for different companies and different projects. We're going to show you the magic investor formula. So who's excited for the magic investor formula? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so let's go on to the first bit of magic. Now, the basics. One of the most critical basics we always see when people come to do a presentation is they forget to say their name. So what you want to do is when you start a presentation, you just want to simply come on stage and say, hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Harding, and today I'm here to talk to you about insert business name. Really simple? Okay, brilliant. So let's get some trial examples. I'm going to pick on you today, sir. I'd like you to stand up and give me an example. So you're just going to walk to here and say, hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is, and I'm the founder of.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zia. I'm the founder of Bit10, the S&P 500 crypto.
Perfect. Round of applause for that. Okay, brilliant. Does anybody else want to have a go at their intro? Or do I have to pick on people? I'm going to have to pick on people then. That's what I'm going to have to do. Okay, we'll come back around to the picking on people later on. So first things first is introducing yourself. Also, when you finish your pitch, it's kind of nice to say thank you to people. These little personality traits, they actually have a way of planting themselves in an investor's mind. Because what, like I said, an investor's looking to do is they're investing in you. Because if they're giving you money, maybe 100K, 50K, in some cases a couple of million, that means they're probably going to have to work with you for the next 2, 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 years of their life. So they want to know that you're actually a likable person. So that's why saying the basic things that we get taught in school, in primary school, hello, my name is, pleasure to meet you, and thank you for listening. That is the ultimate way that you want to wrap up your presentations. It's just as simple as, thank you for listening, you've been a great audience. So now I'm going to pick on somebody. Dean, you're up. So what I want you to do is I want you to just come onto the stage, say, hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dean, and I'm the founder of DD Gaming. Thank you for listening to me. You've been a great audience. Take it away. Yep, I'll start again. There we go. From the top. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dean, and I'm here to talk to you today about DD Gaming. Thank you very much for listening. You've been a great audience.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dean. I'm the founder of DD Gaming. Thank you for listening to our presentation today.
And what have they been?
A great audience.
There we go. Right, let's try that one more time. One more time. We're going to get it into when we get it right. Let's go again. Okay, so what's your name? Do you know your name?
Yeah.
Start with that.
No, the first bit.
Hello.
I've got royalty cut off the stage. This
Hello.
is stage fright. This is what you're talking
Okay,
about.
yeah, that's what it is. So the ultimate secret about stage fright.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
No, but no, my mind's gone blank. Then.
Okay. So if your mind goes blank, tell the audience your mind's gone blank.
It's gone blank, guys.
There we go. Does that make you feel a little bit more relaxed, telling everyone that your mind's gone blank?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So if you ever freeze whilst you're on stage, just tell the audience. Because guess what? They can relate to it. They understand that you're a human being and you've got a human side. And these kind of things happen. Nothing in life, one of my favorite sayings in life, is that nature doesn't make straight lines. There's always a curve, there's always a pathway, there's always something going on. So people can understand that you actually are going to be honest and transparent about things that are happening to you right then. You're probably going to be honest and transparent about things that are happening in your business also. So let's go from the top. You're going to introduce yourself, say the name of your company, and then thank everybody for listening.
Hey everyone, my name is Dean. I'm the founder of DD Gaming. Thank you for listening to my presentation today.
Round of applause. Let's go. Brilliant. Okay. So one of the things that we have to understand in regards to your pitch to keep people engaged is ask people questions. Like, where did you get that hat from, sir?
Branded merchandise.
Oh, okay. Nice. So that's one of the things you've got to do is key to ask questions in your pitch, especially if you're doing an online pitch. Please do not just go blah, 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 ZK roll up, yeah, quantum algorithm, yeah, LLM, GPT. They've heard it 1,001 times. It's really key to ask questions to your investor. And even a top tip for you here, top takeaway, is one of the things you want to do is before you're talking to your investor is go on their website and look at their port codes and ask them questions about how they think your project could align or help or support or expand revenue or reduce margins on their port codes. That way they know that, oh, hang on a minute, this person does his DD. Oh, wow, hang on a minute, this person's actually interested in having an investment from me. Again, it's that relatability. So key thing to do is questions are the answers. If you get a little bit stuck, if you freeze, if you forget your line, if you forget your words, just simply say, have you got any questions? And in that way, that gives you a little break to come back round to wherever you was. So next one is background and context. Now, in terms of background and context, what do I mean? I mean your background. I mean giving them context for who you are. Because again, like I said, sometimes people are in businesses and it's all about product market fit and founder market fit. If you are someone that has worked in maybe quant development for years and you're working on something to do with quant development, you might want to say, I've been working in quant development for 10 years. Because then it gives a little bit more that you've got an actual edge over every other pitch deck that they've seen throughout that day. Does that make sense? Cool, brilliant. So next, we've already gone over this, is to thank people with a thank you, your name, and company questions. So let's go on to the next slide. So this is my favorite thing about business in general. The reason for this is because I'm one of these guys that has one of these phones, because this phone is clearly far superior than every other phone on the planet. Does anyone here have an Apple? An iPhone? Put your hands up if you got an iPhone. Boo! Now, why is Apple the greatest company on the planet? Because they don't actually sell the best phone. What they do is they sell a story. They sell emotion. Why is LVMH, Bernard Arnault, one of the richest men in the world, multiple times over? Does anyone actually need a Birkin bag? Does anyone actually need a Louis Vuitton bag? Does anyone actually need expensive bottles of champagne? No. But what they do need is the feeling of belonging. What they do need is an ego boost. And that's exactly what most of these successful companies do, is they sell emotion. So one of the key things you want to do is you want to understand that unfortunately, people don't actually think logically, they think emotionally. They think emotionally first, and then you can hit people with a bit of logic. My other great example is McDonald's. What does McDonald's sell? Does anybody know? That's one answer. Anyone else? Happiness. Bingo. McDonald's sell happiness. Everything to do with them is about happiness. They are the one logo that anywhere you are in the world, you'll feel safe. If you're anywhere in the world and you need a toilet, what do you look for? McDonald's most of the time. If you're like, oh, I don't really trust the food here, it might give me food poisoning, where will you go? McDonald's. Because since you were a child, they sold you happiness and safety. So this is the key thing to understand, is that the most successful businesses, what are they doing? They're selling emotion, not logic. So what we often see with a lot of pitches is at the start, they just batter people with logic. They just batter people with, oh yeah, I'm using this algorithm, but they're not talking about the problem that they're solving. They're not helping the investor to really be in that place of anguish of, hang on a minute, I'm building this business because there's so many people with this pain point. You need to take the pain point and expand the pain for the investors. You need to take this tiny little thing. Let's say, for example, if it's gaming, and we know loads of people can play gaming, but what might be the problem? The problem might be that, they might struggle with their save files. So what you want to do is you want to expand on the story and say, have you ever been in a situation whereby you've played a game for hours and hours and then lost that save file? What did that feel like? Would you like that feeling to happen again? You've now taken them to an emotional place and they can relate to whatever it is that you're going to sell as a solution. They can relate because you've just made them empathize purposefully. So expanding on emotion. Next, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So this is the key part of tonality. And this is one of my favorite exercises I've ever been taught in my life from drama school. So there's a saying here, and it says, I did not say he beat his wife. Who's seen me do this exercise before? Anyone seen this before? You've seen it before? Okay, we're going to do it now. This is the power of tonality. Depending on where I put the emphasis, this sentence will change. So let's go through it now. I did not say he beat his wife. 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 So do you see how it's the exact same sentence, but all you're doing is changing the tone on the different word, and it creates a brand new meaning. So now you've got to think every time that you're pitching, is there a possibility that if you're sending messages over text message or over Telegram to investors, that they might be interpreting it and reading it the way that they want? I'll give you a great example of that. My uncle, he's a very typical Jamaican Rastafarian, and for some unknown reason, he loves typing in capital messages. So everyone in my family just never knows if he's actually angry or not, because he's always like, yes, I'm going to be here at 8 p.m. Has anyone seen that? Whenever someone types in capitals, you just automatically associate that someone's shouting. And this is one of the dangers of sending information about your business via message on Telegram. What you want to do is you want to engage with the investor or whoever it is that you're talking to and find a way to find relatability and then get on a phone call, because the power of your voice is the most powerful thing, as we've just seen there. Okay, so now we're going to go to my next favorite trick. Let me show you this magic trick. How's best to do it here? No, we won't do that. We will do it this way. I'd like a bottle of water, please. I'd like a bottle of water. I'd like a bottle of water. And I have a bottle of water? Bottle of water. Thank you. So if I'm asking for a bottle of water, why did she give me a fork? Because I was indicating my intention was the fork. My intention and my body language was pushing towards, can you give me this? So subconsciously it's not. It's our intentions. On a subconscious level, we read most of what you're understanding from people when they're talking is actually their body language. That's why when you're in another country, you probably don't know that many words, but you can kind of get by a little bit. That's because people pick up on your intention of what you're saying rather than just the words. So that's an example there. Little magic trick. Sorry, I'll give you back your fork. Sorry about that. You might need that. Okay, cool. And then finally is passion. Please, 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 please. Every time you're pitching, have passion. Before you get into a pitch, think about why you're doing what you're doing. Think about why you love what you're doing. Think about all the people that you want to actually create a solution for with your business. The worst thing you can do, and it's very unlikely that an investor is going to give you money, if you're tired and you're just a bit like, yeah, so this is my business. I've been working on it for the last 4 years. It's now, we're just looking to raise some funds. If you're not interested in your business, why is an investor going to be interested in your business? And you're laughing because you've probably seen people do that. It happens all the time. Try and make sure that you're passionate and excited about your business, because passion and excitement is actually contagious. It's one of the most contagious things on the planet. Cool. Let's go on to the next slide. So we're now going to talk about the structure of your pitch. So one of the things that you want to do, like we said, is you want to introduce your team. If you've got a really good team and that's got amazing backgrounds, maybe you've worked at like Goldman Sachs, or maybe your team was an animator at Pixar or something like that, and it's related, you're doing something gaming-wise, you want to introduce that team and set the scene that you've got the Avengers. Because guess what? Investors, most of the time, they will invest in exited founders. I've seen it before where investors go, you know what, I'm going to invest in that guy just because he's an exited founder, and then someone else in his team is an exited founder. It's pretty likely that this project's gonna go somewhere. There's another project where I've seen it before where they actually invested in the founder, not for the project that he was building at that time, but because they realized he had crazy potential, and they were like, well, we just need to keep him around our portcos because he's going to go somewhere. So this is where introducing the team and setting the scene is very, very important. Now, the next bit we slightly spoke about, but this is the villain. So in all stories, what do you have? You have a villain. You are the hero. You need to present yourself as the hero in the story, in the narrative. But to make you stand out more, you need to make the villain look really bad. You need to find out the exact problem that you are solving. You need to really hone in on that problem. So we gave some examples before, but let's take an example. Does anyone want to talk a little bit about their business, the problem? I want to pick on someone. We've already had you. Sir, what's the business? What's the problem that you're solving?
There isn't a GBP stablecoin.
There isn't a GBP stablecoin. So can anyone think of the pain points of there not being a GBP stablecoin? Hyperregulation. But what can we think of as that's the biggest problem of there not being a GBP stablecoin?
You have to do the USD to Forex.
Boom. Forex. That means that there is trillions of dollars that aren't moving instantaneously. That means that the velocity of money in the UK is far lower than its counterpart, the USA. So how is the UK ever meant to do what the USA is doing if its money has to wait? So when you present the problem in a much bigger scale, all of a sudden your solution seems a lot more attractive. Does it make sense? Cool. So next is the magic moment. Now, the magic moment is where you present your USP. This is the bit in films where Spider-Man first shoots his web sling and he's going through New York web sling and you're like, whoa! This is the moment where Luke gets his lightsaber and he's swishing away and you're like, wow, this guy's got something special about him. That is exactly what you need to do. You need to have your lightsaber and Spider-Man moment. You need to present your USP or whatever it is that is your solution as the greatest thing. You need to make sure that you help the investors to understand how many people your business is going to provide a solution for. You need to make the investors understand how scalable your business is. Because again, if your business can only serve one client, okay, if it's the British government and the British military or the American industrial war complex, then maybe that's one customer enough. But in general, you need to be able to present how many people your business is going to provide a solution for. Probably not this tam, tom, som thing. Investors are kind of hating that. Also, big red error that I'm going to warn you now. Do not have hockey sticks. No hockey sticks. Please. No. Investors hate hockey sticks because they are unrealistic. The reason why they're unrealistic is because there's this thing called change. That's a constant. So your projection that, oh yeah, my revenue is going to go like this. Like I said, nature doesn't do straight lines. There's the most successful companies in the world. At some point, they're going to take some kind of dip. At some point, you might have to go on a hiring spree. At some point, you're going to lose a client, a customer. So saying that everything's going to go all roses and daisies forever is a bit unrealistic. Yep. Yeah, the graph that just goes like this. So when people have it on their deck that, oh yeah, our revenue in the next 10 years is going to go like this. Really? Do you know what's going to happen in the next 10 years? No, nobody does. So showing that is just a little bit of naivety. So, and definitely don't have double hockey sticks. Definitely don't have two hockey sticks next to each other because that means that you're completely detached from reality. Cool. So that's that side. Okay. So the magic formula. The investing magic formula. What is an investor looking for? They're looking for money. The whole reason they're putting money into your business isn't just to burn it, isn't just to just go, oh, that was good, that made me feel good today. What they're doing it for is to turn their money into more money. So what they're looking for is the magic formula, 1 + 1 = 10. We know that that isn't how maths works, but in an investor's head, that is exactly how it works, and that's exactly what they're looking for. They want to know, okay, your business right now is revenuing 100K. If I give you 100K, can you turn that business into a 10 mil revenuing company? That's literally what they're looking for. So you've got to find a way with your business to find the maths equation that allows these things to add up. This is why looking for distribution is the key thing. So let's give an example, going back to my alcohol days. What you would do is you'd find a business that was revenuing around 100,000. They'd probably have 10 sites that they were selling their bottles into, but getting 1 or 2 deals with big distributors that had 1,000 stores. Guess what happens? If you give me the 100K that allows me to hire 2 new staff for the year that can now go and only focus on wholesale distribution, which will then mean that I will actually be able to distribute 1 million units per year. Do you see how that maths equation works? So again, that's what you're looking for. So the problem in our industry is that most people think distribution equals KOL. KOL does not equal distribution. That is not distribution. Distribution is actual users, actual engagement, actual traction, actual paying customers. So you need to be able to demonstrate by doing some of these things, either increasing your revenue. What are you going to do to increase your revenue with the investor's money? Have you got a clear idea of, okay, if I take this investor's money, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and it's going to bring us our revenue 4x, 5x, 10x. Next is partnerships. Partnerships is probably one of the easiest ways of increasing the amount and helping to get to this formula. Why? Because if you've got the partnerships, then you're leveraging someone else's network. And if you can get these partnerships, it's quite simple. You don't actually have to be doing business with them right now. One of the things that you can be doing is be getting partnerships like this gentleman here is a great example of, you just walk straight into the trap there. Perfect timing. We rehearsed this earlier. So yeah, a great example is getting partnerships, getting those letters of intent from potential customers to say to an investor, look, actually, we've got 10 letters of intent, but what we need is we need to be able to get this investment money so that we can employ the staff, so we can do the marketing, so we can get the legal, so we can register the company and wherever it needs to be, so that we can now close on those deals and bring in that revenue. So partnerships is absolutely key. Distribution, we've already spoke about. And finally, the one thing that an investor wants to know is, have you planned your exit? Like, who are you going to get acquired by? Are you planning on getting acquired, or are you just doing a token? One of the easiest, I had a great conversation about this the other day with Bybit and MH Ventures, and they were discussing about exits in Web3. And as you're probably seeing at the moment, one of the things that's happening is companies are getting acquired left, right, and center at the moment. We've had ExchangeArt get acquired by Bonk. We've had, what was the other one? MoonPay are just going around acquiring everybody under the sun. So there's loads of things happening in the space. Drip just got acquired the other day as well. So what is happening? How is the easiest way to show to an investor that you've clearly thought about getting an exit? The easiest way is you should know who would like to actually acquire my company. Write a list of people that would actually like to acquire your company. Now you're probably thinking to myself, yeah, but writing this list of people that might want to acquire my company doesn't guarantee or make it more likely. But you take the next step. The next step is now trying to acquire those people on that list as your customers. Even better is to acquire somebody from one of those companies that you want to exit to as an advisor. So let's say, for example, I'm building a game. If I can get an advisor from Activision Blizzard, guess what? If that advisor is seeing everything that's happening with my game and then hears that I'm going to do an exit to Sony, what's going to happen? Is he going to be more likely to try and do what he can with his board to try and acquire your company? Of course. So simple logic, simple positioning. So any questions on any of that? Nope.
So go back to the advisor.
Mm-hmm.
What was your point there? Like finding the right advisor of the companies that you want to get acquired.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. So if you, so give us an example of what your company does.
We pour capital into infrastructure and create yields for users.
Okay, so an ideal exit for you would be someone like Galaxy Digital, I'm guessing, right? So if you were to find someone from Galaxy Digital, C-suite level, tell them about your company, say, look, we're just looking for an advisor. We're happy to give you 1% equity just for like 4 hours of your time once a month. Now you've got someone at Galaxy Digital that's advising you and guiding you to literally go, well, actually, we've got this problem at Galaxy Digital. Maybe you could do this, and then that will increase the chances of Galaxy becoming your customer. And then obviously now they're going to probably start seeing you as an acqui-hire and go, actually, instead of us hiring all these people that would have to go through all this training, have to go through all this nonsense, we've literally got the company that's going to provide the solution to what we want to do. And we can scale it very easily. So is that a good example?
Yeah, so in the presentation in the deck, if you have those advisors already as advisors,
That needs to be kind of near the start. So if you've got really big hitter advisors like that, put that at the start. Put that with your team background and that, because then when someone's looking at a deck, the first page they see, and they're like, oh, damn. Because you got to think of it. With a movie trailer, what do? They hit you with the big stars at the start. That's what they do. So that way you're captivated, you're in, you're sold already. You're like, if there's Mission Impossible, nobody would watch it if Tom Cruise wasn't in it. The first thing you see, I say Mission Impossible, what's the first thing you think of? Tom Cruise, his face. So it's the same thing. It's about selling that story of your team and of your advisors. Cool. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's do it in 6 steps. So, oh no, this bit isn't for you guys. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much the end of the presentation. Hope you've all enjoyed that. Does anybody have any questions? No.
Where did you learn all of this? Like obviously, because I've been founder now in crypto since before Ethereum existed. What's funny is like I'm part of a team now. We've just finalized quite a large raise with the biggest in industry founder, and everything you said today is stuff that I've learned through like 17 pivots and like 100 pitches, and it's all bang on. So as from someone here who's just closed around with the biggest investor you can get in our industry, I would say listen to everything you had to say. I just want to know, where did you get that from us? Because like somebody who came from drama, like I did a bit of performing when I was younger, so it's easier for me to speak in front of people, so I related there. But definitely want to know, because coming from drama into business, I think.
It's called 12 years of pain. That's what it is. Just the pain of just trying to scale businesses on the ground in the alcohol industry. Like it's the one industry where scaling a business, it's all about the numbers. It's all about the cogs. It's all about the margins. It's all about getting those extra few accounts. It's all about making yourself attractive. It's all about selling the story. Like there's a saying in the alcohol industry, it's you've got to get liquor on the lips. If you're not getting people to actually try your drink, take pictures of your drink, it's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, a long time doing that, a long time working with a range of startups, not just in Web3, but just across the board. And I think it's just business is business, right? Like it's about, I always say, like people always forget that it's kind of a taboo thing to say in Web3 that your business needs to have revenue. Yeah. It's a bit like people are like, oh, no, I'll do the token first and then I'll get the revenue. It's like, well, that's not what makes an investor go, oh, like you have to like kind of, yeah, it's just the maths, that formula that I showed you. They're looking for 1 + 1 = 10. How are you going to take my money and turn it into 10x? Where am I going to get my 25x from? And a lot of people aren't really showing that without a token. And it's about helping people to understand, okay, look, there's actually really simple things you can do to get that initial bit of traction, to just show that fire, because all that you're doing is you're creating the fire, and then the investors are just coming in with the gasoline. And it's like that. So yeah, that's how you get to know all this stuff is pain. That's what it is. Thank you.
I had to learn it myself.
Yep. Pain. You got. Unfortunately, you gotta get battered a little bit. You gotta take some L's, some really, really big L's. So yeah, thank you very much. I've been Michael Hardy, and you guys have been a fantastic audience.